Welcome to Curtis Ghost Corner, coming to you from a secret underground base in occupied America. Nikki Haley says Texas can secede from the United States. That's their decision to make. The late Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia said there is no right to secede. We'll get into the story in a second here. I appreciate all my new subscribers. Got a pretty good amount the last couple of weeks. Need to bring up the watch hours, though, so if some of you could really help me out and watch this video, of course, and then older videos as well, that'd be really appreciative. You know, the Supreme Court ruled that secession was unlawful. It was against the Constitution. But he said, well, that's a sealed deal now. I don't know, is it? Supreme Court also ruled that black people were property in the Dred Scott case. Supreme Court ruled a lot of different things. Supreme Court originally ruled that separate but equal in the old Jim Crow days was allowable. And we can go on and on and on, but the fact of the matter is, look at Roe v. Wade. That was supposedly done. So a ruling by the Supreme Court saying that secession is not legal, it doesn't really mean much because different courts can say different things. Let's read on. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley stumbled through a question on whether the state of Texas has a right to secede from the U.S., as she claimed that's their decision to make. During an interview on the Breakfast Club podcast, Charlemagne the God, I can't stand him, asked the 2024 candidate if she would use force against Texas if they try to secede from the Union over the border issue. Charlemagne referenced a 2010 interview with Haley saying the Constitution allows for states to secede. I believe in states' rights. I believe that everything should be as close to the people as to the side, said Haley, adding that she supported Texas governor's razor wire fencing measures to protect the state amid a growing border crisis. When pressed about the issue of secession, Haley said that if Texas decided they want to do that, they can do that. If that whole state says we don't want to be part of America anymore, I mean, it's their decision to make. Yeah, they're going to go into detail here. Texas was originally a republic. And a little side note, originally Texas was Mexican territory. And being the Mexican government decided to fill it with people because it was sparsely populated, a lot worse than it is now. There are no big major cities like today. They invited Americans to come, and they gave them incentives for Americans to move to Texas. Does this sound familiar? Immigrants. They migrated from the United States into Texas. And over time, their numbers grew and grew and grew until they revolted against Mexico and won their independence. Remember the Alamo? That's part of the Texas, part of their rebellion. So filling your country with immigrants, encouraging them to come and giving them incentives to come many times backfires. And that's how Texas was formed, became a republic, and shortly thereafter joined the Union. I don't think government needs to tell people how to live, how to do anything. I mean, I think we need to let freedom live. I think, states are going to make decisions, but let's talk about what's reality. Texas isn't going to secede. I mean, that's not something they're going to do, Haley said, which is probably true, but the odds aren't zero. Texas is currently to stand off the Biden administration over the razor wire and basically the border in general. And that decision by the Supreme Court was really screwy as well. And you'll see the Lone Star State, their flag, the capital in Austin, which ironically is the liberal hub in Texas. Abbott said he would invoke an Article 1 of Section 10, which says was triggered by President Biden's inaction at the border. It actually states the provision, no state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any duty of tonnage, keep troops, or ships of war in times of peace, enter any agreement or compact with another state or with a foreign power or engage in war unless actually invaded. And that's the key word there. They are being invaded, or such imminent danger as will not admit of delay. However, the Constitution does not allow for any states to secede from the Union, even Texas. Well, of course they wouldn't put that in the Constitution. It was a brand new country. Why would they put in the Constitution? Well, this thing's going to be pretty tentative. It's a brand new Constitution, brand new government. This kind of thing has never been done before in the world. So let's put a caveat and a loophole where if you want to get out, you can get out. Of course they wouldn't. You have to be a genius to figure that out. Even before Texas finally rejoined the Union after the Civil War, the Supreme Court declared that secession had never been legal, and that even during the rebellion, Texas continued to be a state. Well, if that was the case, then why didn't they have representation in Washington? It's not as black and white as people make out. When Texas rejoined the Union in 1845, they didn't rejoin if they were never out. Its annexation resolution said that Texas could, in the future, choose to divide itself into new states of convenient size, not exceeding 4 in number, in addition to the said state of Texas, which they didn't do, of course. I'm glad they didn't. However, the language resolution merely says that Texas could be split into 5 new states. It says nothing about splitting from the U.S. Only Congress has the power to admit new states to the Union, which last occurred in 1959 with the admission of Alaska and Hawaii. Makes me feel old that I was alive in my lifetime, states were still being admitted to the Union. The late Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia put the issue to rest when he was asked by a screenwriter in 2006 whether there's a legal basis for secession. The answer is clear, Scalia wrote. If there was any constitutional issue resolved by the Civil War, it was that there is no right to secede, hence in the Pledge of Allegiance, one nation indivisible. Now, is Texas going to do it? Is Biden going to stumble into it? And that's basically what they said during the Civil War. The Union, or the northern states in this case, stumbled into secession. It's one of those things that the old saying goes, things go slow, things go slow, things go slow, things go slow, and then bang, they just speed up and happen. This could very well happen. If 2 or 3 other states get so fed up too and get a hold of Texas and say, let's secede together, it's a constitutional crisis, and it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. How's that saying go? I think it was Ben Franklin about the new republic. He says, yeah, if you can keep it. What would the founders say right now? I don't know. I know they would be disgusted that the federal government is so large and so overbearing and the tax burden is so tremendous. I know they would be upset about that. But is this going to spark, there's some secession people in the Texas Assembly. Is this going to spark something? How will Biden react? We're going to have to see. And so far, Biden's White House is not good in crises. He always manages to screw it up. In fact, supposedly a President Obama quote is, don't underestimate the ways Joe Biden could F things up. Anyway, folks, we're going to have to see. If they keep pushing Texas, they may put articles of secession on their calendar in their state assembly, and then all hell's going to break loose if that happens, and then things will escalate quickly, just like in 1861, when all the states, one by one in the South, all left, and we know what happens after that. Pray it doesn't happen. It's up to the feds to figure this out and not do the wrong thing. And until the next time, God bless. Goodbye, and good luck.